Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Plus. This is a bonus podcast here at 4playernetwork.com. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
And I do want to. We thought we were going to have Crispy tonight, but unfortunately something came up. He is not able to be here. But this should be the last week without Crispy. So for those of you who have noticed Crispy's absence the past few weeks and are like, "Where's Crispy?" He will return. He has all the parts compiled, I believe, for his PC build, which is obviously he needs a PC to be able to record these shows. So hopefully he'll get that up and running soon so we can have his beautiful face back here on the podcast. Also, just want to send a shout out to Nolan. It was his birthday this past week. Happy birthday, Nolan.
A birthday.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you have a good birthday? Oh,
I guess so. I mean, nothing too special going on.
Really
Gotcha.
hate that technology. I really hate
yeah,
it.
we
so
all
much.
do.
You hate the
People-
technology of birthdays? What's wrong with you?
For those listening at home, Nolan's got really creepy demon eyes thanks to his, what is this called? NVIDIA's latest.
It is called NVIDIA. Where's my thing? Eyeballs. Eye contact.
That's actually a pretty good name for this technology. But man, it freaks the shit out of me. So so if you're watching us live, that's what's going on with Nolan's weird shifty eyes. But anyways, thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. We have a good show lined up. We're not doing a regular podcast. This is a bonus podcast, like I mentioned. We haven't done a top 3 in a while. So here we are. We're going to do our first top 3 of 2023. And this was a Brad idea, I believe. Brad, do you want to walk us through the topic for this evening? Is that...
The topic is it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's kind of the ones we've always, regretted putting down because shit happens sometimes, and you could even games that you're really enjoying, you could put down like for a little bit because something else came out because we've been podcasting for 15 years and shit happens, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking a lot about the games, especially that I've played in the past 15 years. And, there's even games on my Game of the Year lists that I put down and never finished. And it was actually at the beginning of the year where I was kind of thinking of like Game of the Year resolutions, right? Or I'm sorry, New Year's gaming resolutions. And I even started making a list of games where it's like, let me go through all my top 10 lists and start picking up some of my favorite games on here that I haven't actually finished, or maybe, something else related, which maybe will come up. And that's sort of got me thinking about this of we should do a top 3 list of games we regret putting down. Because, for whatever reason, sometimes games are hard to pick up, or sometimes you're just never in the right moment or the right mood. And maybe as a twist on this topic, we can revisit the games that we put on our list today.
So quick spoiler alert. All 3 of the games that I've picked for my list were on my top 10s.
Wow.
All 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, and I had a list of like 15 or so.
Sorry, game of the year top 10 lists or like whatever?
Yeah. All three of the games that I've picked appeared somewhere on my top 10 list in the respective year in which they came out.
All 3 of the games that I've put down are on my top 10 favorite games of all time.
What?
No, I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Oh, okay.
They're probably not going to be on your game. They're probably not going to be on your favorite of all time if you've not finished them, but it's possible, I guess.
That is correct. That is correct. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what we're doing here.
I don't want to spoil things, but I have a Game of the Year winner
on this list.
Yeah. I probably did spoil it, so if you can figure it out, chat, shut up.
Well, like you said, we've been doing this for 15 years, so that narrows it down to 15 potential games. If people go that far, actually, well, we didn't do top 10s for the first however many years that we were recording this, so maybe that doesn't necessarily open it up that much. But
I can make it my number 3 and go first if you like.
Yeah, we can do that. So, just as a quick recap, when we do these top threes, we each obviously have three games we're going to mention, and we're going to go around the circle, and we're going to do 3, 2, 1. Uh, and have we been doing honorable? I guess we just do quick honorable mentions at the end or whatnot. And I actually opened it up to people in the community and Discord to kind of share and see if there's any games that people have put down that they want to pick back up. And I got a few responses, so I'll kind of highlight those near the end. Don't let me forget. I sometimes say things at the beginning of the show and I forget by the end. So Chris Davis, you're responsible. Don't let me end this podcast without reading some community entries.
Have
Um,
Nick do honorable mentions.
there we
Got it.
go. Thank you.
I
All
didn't
right.
actually write that down. I just said that.
God damn it. Okay. All right. Brad, well, since you volunteered, I guess what is the order we're gonna do? Brad, and then you know what? I'm gonna let my screen dictate the order here. So what I'm seeing. So I'm gonna go Brad, Chris Davis, Nolan, and then me.
I'll let you figure it out. My number 3 games I regret putting down, especially because it was my game of the year that year, and because I think might be like really impossible to go back to, but we'll see. That game is Darkest Dungeon. And it's
Ooh.
interesting
Ah.
because the
Really?
reason I never finished that game is because I was afraid of the Darkest Dungeon.
But I
I
thought
was
you
too
talked about
scared.
that game so much. Like you
Well,
played a bunch of it, didn't you?
I played a whole fuck ton of it, right? You know, I played an insane amount of Darkest Dungeon. But the thing
Yeah,
about
someone who's
Darkest
never
Dungeon,
played Darkest Dungeon, I don't really know
well, let me
what being
explain.
afraid of it means. So
Um, well, there's your characters die and they stay dead, and if you have a bad run, there's a very good chance that they will all die. And the thing about the Darkest Dungeon is there's no escaping the Darkest Dungeon, at least not when you get like far enough into it, right? I think there might be times where you can back out, but like backing out is like serious. I think if you try to leave the Darkest Dungeon, one of your dudes is going to die no matter what. That's just part of the choice, right? But the what really is tough about the Darkest Dungeon is, or really tough about the game in general, are boss fights. And by the if you get into a boss fight and shit starts going bad, that's it. It's going to be a full wipe. And when you're going for the final dungeon, the Darkest Dungeon, it is not only insanely difficult, but you're bringing your best guys because you're trying to beat the fucking game. But if it goes bad, they're
you
gone.
fucked.
And I believe that the
There's
stuff
no
that they
saves
have
coming.
equipped might go away as well. No, there's no saves coming in Darkest Dungeon. It is a permadeath game, and you might have been playing forever. I mean, you can grind up characters again to be high levels, but like Gamer Beck in chat says, like a lot of what makes you powerful in that game are some of like the relics or accessories or whatever you can find. I forget what they're called. And bringing your best shit and your best guys to attempt to try to beat this game is it's crazy. It's a death sentence, and you kind of have to commit to it. And honestly, it's just too. I mean, the whole game is about stress and like it really just fucking you up. I mean, that's what, like one of the major like conceits of the game, right? And it's just crazy how at the end of the day, even though I felt like I had a pretty stacked team, bunch of max level dudes, a lot of really good equipment, I was just never brave enough to like do that dungeon. And I think it's because I saw a lot of people try and fail. And that's crazy to me.
And
That's
you didn't want to
crazy.
be among them. Yeah.
I probably could have eventually done it, but it's a big commitment. Not just in terms of, like mentally, but also time commitment. Because if it
Do you
does
think
go
that
bad, you're really gonna
represents?
have to.
Do you think
Hmm?
that kind of that experience kind of represents a lot of people's final like playthroughs of that game, where they like
I think
played?
there's a lot of people that have not finished Darkest Dungeon. I think there's a lot of people. And it's a great
Mm.
fucking game. And so much so, and I played so much of it. Yeah, I gave it my game of the year because I don't think not finishing it takes away from that experience. If anything, my fear is like a testament to the game
King
achieving
Carrot
what
in
it
chat
wanted
says
to
he's
achieve.
guilty of this. So
But at the same time, like, the sequel's coming out this year, and a lot of people say that it's very different, and a lot of people prefer the first game. So I have a feeling, I am going to try this new game, but I have a feeling I'm going to have a hankering to kind of hop back into the original and maybe try my hand at finishing the game again.
What do you think the odds are that
I'm
they're
willing
gonna
to put
like?
it on my list here of games I regret, stopping and picking back up later this year. Although now that I think about it, I think a lot of my games I also don't finish because I'm playing through them around Game of the Year time, and I'll get really into them. Like, oh, this is fucking amazing. But if I commit too much time to this, I'm gonna not be able to revisit some of the other shit that I have played this year, or even start new shit. And I find myself like moving on, and then all of a sudden it's February of the next year, and fucking Wo Long's coming
Cycle
out or
begins
whatever the
anew.
fuck,
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, fuck. It happens
yeah.
every year. It happens every year. So
Just FYI, I don't know if you heard me. King Carey in chat says he's guilty of having this exact experience with Darkest Dungeon.
yeah, yeah.
What do you think the odds are that Darkest Dungeon 2 is going to like? Are they trying to double down on like how brutally
It's just
difficult it is? Or?
it's a completely different game. A completely different game. And some people aren't happy about it. So we'll see.
That'll be
We'll see.
interesting.
If you had told me, before it launched in beta or whatever, when we were like drafting, like, oh, if I knew that Darkest Dungeon 2 was coming out in 1.0 and I had just seen a trailer and there was no impressions of this beta, I would have like absolutely drafted that game, probably in my first 4 picks. I love that first game, and I trust that developer, but they've made a lot of big choices, and a lot of people are not happy about them. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I was not brave enough to bid on that game.
It's not too late, Brad. It's not too late. You can always pick
I
it
know
up.
it's not too late, but I'm
works.
afraid. I'm afraid.
Yeah, quick shout out. If you haven't yet, please go listen to our first episode of the year. Check out our fantasy critic draft. We'll be doing that all year. Things are getting interesting. I'll say this.
It's getting heated, is what's happening.
Did anybody bid on?
Chris Davis popping into chat. Chris Davis popping into the fantasy critic channel to be like, I hope everybody wins. And it's just like that's what.
There's no games being bid on this week.
No, I am considering bidding on a game, but I'm waiting to see how.
You've been open
Atomic
about
Heart
what
turns
game it is that you're planning on bidding on. So,
am I not supposed to be open about? I mean,
no. You can be. I mean, people. I mean, I don't think I'm going to bid. I still think it's risky. But
all I'm saying is that I look at my list and I know that I threw a lot of Hail Marys on my list because I was picking from the heart mostly. And I realize if I want any chance of winning, I probably need to be really smart about the remaining 5 picks that I pick up between now and the end of the year. So I don't want to just like willy-nilly like, oh, that looks cool, and then bid on it. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how the next game that's coming up next week.
A lot of games though. So.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Chris Davis, you're up next. What is your first pick for the top 3?
My first pick, my number 3, is a game that I started playing in September. But because everything was coming out, I stopped playing it, but I do want to go back to it.
September of 2022.
Yes.
Okay.
I have it right here actually. Anno Mutationum.
Oh, I have played that.
And it's a pretty cool game. Very fun combat system. Love the art style. The art style in this is fucking fantastic. Going around this cyberpunk-esque world and just that 2D on a 3D plane presentation. It's so eye-catching. It's so good.
Yeah, they did some pretty cool stuff presentation-wise with that game.
But also the actual combat and the exploration. I wouldn't say it's a Metroidvania, but it's got that kind of Metroid-esque kind of design to it.
It doesn't lean too hard on those elements, unfortunately.
No, it really doesn't.
But
the combat could be better. I mean, it's not a character action game, but it kind of aspires to be. But yeah, the combos that you can build based on the weapons you deal with, and your character's progression, how she gets extra powers and starts to really explore like what her actual background is, what's been going on with her.
Wait, so you started this, right? But you just did you started it and then put it down, right? So how far did you get before you put it down?
Hold on, isn't that what this episode's about?
I know. I realized that when I was asked, I was like, wait a second. I was making sure.
No, I've never played it.
I got to
12 minutes. What was that one game that was like you had played 19 minutes or something?
That was the Persistence, and I played that for 47 minutes actually.
Isn't that ironic though?
That was one of my favorite segments ever.
Whatever. Anyway,
Jesus
I
Christ.
got to the part where you got to the underground beach in the sewers with that big boss fight. If that means anything to
Gotcha.
you, that was a
does,
kind of a
yes.
hard moment. And it wasn't a lack of me just getting burned down at the game at that point. It was just there were other things I had to go play, so I had to prioritize that. And just I've never uninstalled it off my PS5. I've just never gotten around to actually.
It's a good choice because it's a very digestible, like easy, I feel like that is a easy game to go back to, knowing that you're not going to spend like 50 hours on it. You know what I mean? Like it's something you can pretty easily commit to going back and finishing, because it's not a super long game, but it is worth playing for sure.
It's about 15 hours. I think that's what it is.
Mhm.
So I was probably near the halfway point, probably
Sweet.
where I was. So I don't know. I do want to go
Be
back
honest,
to
Chris
it.
Davis, this is actually just thanks to your love affair with that other game about cyberpunk bartenders or whatever. What is it?
Oh, Valhalla?
Yeah. There are literal references to that game. I had
The
never
main
even played that
character
game, but
is in the game. Yeah, she makes
Yeah.
a cameo. So, but hey, it just
Which is
is a
weird.
testament
I
to how
was like,
good a
this-
game Valhalla is.
Yeah. At least the dev of this game completely agrees with you. All right. Nolan, you're up. God damn it, Nolan. I can't tell if you're looking at me or if the fucking computer is looking at me through your
The
eyes.
thing is, we'll never know. He's gonna use this
know.
against us.
So the first game I'm gonna go with that I regret putting down, and I'm gonna start by saying all three of these games. If anyone were to approach me and be like, "Is this a good game?" I'd be like, "Oh my god, that game's fantastic! I love it." But I've never finished any of them. The first one's gonna be The Evil Within 2.
Ooh.
Oh, you didn't
That's a
finish
good one.
that?
I didn't. I finished
Oh.
the first one, and I was super excited for the second one. And you know what? I played a bunch of the second one, but I never finished it. And I think, like Brad said, in reality, all of these games, the reason I put them down was because something else came up. All of a sudden, maybe another game came out. I got busy with life, work, whatever, and then just got distracted by something else and never, picked them back up again. But
It's
like
tragic when that
similarly,
happens.
similarly, they are all games I would want to finish. So yeah, Evil Within 2. We've talked about it plenty on the show before. It is a fantastic game. It did not get the critical acclaim it needed to get, based on how good it was, and especially such an improvement over the first one. Whereas the
Did you
first one
see
was already good at
that
the beginning.
they might be teasing Evil Within 3 in Hi-Fi Rush, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Tell you what,
So
Did you get to the open world part, or open
Oh,
world,
yeah.
quote unquote? Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't
No,
remember
I
how
did, I
far
did.
into the game that was, but it's obviously a standout moment for that game.
For sure.
the last hour of that game is probably one of the best hours I had that entire year.
It's
Yeah.
pretty wild. What's up, Brad? You're raising your hand.
Oh no! Ignore me.
Okay. Done.
Not easy, but okay.
Anything else you want to say about the Evil Within 2, or?
Nope. It's definitely one that I want to get back to.
Alrighty. So y'all, well, at least Chris and Nolan picked a game that I think was a very reasonable choice, because it's like, ooh, it's something you can go back to, finish relatively quickly without disrupting kind of everything else you're playing. Me, on the other hand, I decided, I
Hold
guess,
the fuck up. Are you about to say Final Fantasy 14?
no.
No,
But
he would not.
that would have been ambitious. No, but again, all three of the games that I'm going to talk about tonight are on my top 10s for their respective years, and this game in particular is not short by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's quite long. It's like 60 plus hours, I think, roughly, if I remember correctly. And I played through probably about 55 of those hours. I got to
That'd be
the
cool if
fucking
you've never
very
finished
end.
Days Gone. That'd be cool if you never finished Days Gone.
Dude, the game I'm talking about is the Talos Principle.
Hey.
Oh my god,
Nick-
it's the
Nick,
same.
that-
I've also played like 95% of this game.
That's on my short list. That's on my. Like I said, when we started this,
In this game?
I have 18 games on my list, and I kind of whittled it down to 3. But Talos Principle's on there.
Happy Time
That game
Gaming
is
and
so-
Chat apparently also had the same experience. I don't know what it
The
was, because
game-
I played so much of that game and it's so good. Why
Yeah.
did I not
It's
finish
a
it?
lot. I don't think I could ever go back to it.
It's
Yeah, no. Here's the shitty part about this is, if I do intend to go back to it, there's absolutely zero chance of like just jumping back into my save. I would have to start
No.
from scratch again.
You would have to.
That'd be like jumping in the middle of The Witness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's exactly
It'd
like
be
jumping in the middle of the
it'd be
river.
way too daunting. But it is one of those like if you're every time I'm in the mood for like a really cool like puzzle game, but there's not some like new exciting puzzle game to jump into, I always play with the idea in my head of jumping back into the Talos Principle. Um, and I've
Aren't
stopped
they
myself
working
every
on like a
time.
sequel to that supposedly?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a sequel to the Talos Principle coming out. I don't know if I think that's maybe someone in chat can confirm. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed at this point. Um, but yeah, man, that game is so good, and it's probably I mean it is up there with The Witness and Portal as like one of the honestly, it feels a lot kind of like The Witness meets Portal, just in terms of like kind of how
Oh,
you
for
explore
sure.
the world like The Witness, but you like interact with puzzles kind of like you do Portal. Like it's that game is so fucking good, and I'm just like constantly mad at myself for not having crossed the finish line, considering how close I got. So yeah, maybe I'll go back and give that one a shot and see if it sticks this time.
Well,
But
if you need something else to play for puzzles, maybe check out the Entropy Center.
wait, no,
But that's goes against the whole point of this
I'm just saying,
podcast.
what if you ever feel the need and you don't want to go back to Talos Principle? Just saying,
but I
Entropy
do.
Center.
That's why it's on my
He
list. I
has to
want to
go
go
back
back
to
to the.
Talos Principle now.
Okay.
He mentioned it.
Well,
Yeah,
Nick, at
yeah.
that point, why don't you just play the Looker?
No,
That's true.
stop it, y'all. Though I mean, I hear both of those are cool games, but
Everybody
But
stop.
the Looker is fantastic. I beat it. Hey, that's one that I don't that can't be on this list because I finished it.
I have
How
heard really good things about the Looker.
How
no,
what, Nick?
this eye thing sometimes makes you look a little cross-eyed. I just want you to know that. I just letting you
Really?
know. Unless I'm
Yeah, I
crazy.
saw it for a second
Pretty,
there.
I'm pretty sure it does. Um, you know, I'll look into that. I can't even envision what the Looker is, but
Nick, I can tell you. I just looked at my Steam. I finished the Looker in 52 minutes.
oh yeah, I can do that. I
Yeah.
could totally do that.
And you know what? It
Uh,
was a fantastic game
all right,
with one of
noted.
the best endings of. It's probably my top 15 at least best endings.
Oh.
You know what?
Wow.
You know what? We should do a top 3 video game endings.
Oh.
That would be fun. But hard. I feel like I would need more than like a day's prep time to figure that out.
I already got my number one.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do that sometime. All right. Brad, we're back to you for
Let's just roll right
number
into
2.
that top three right after this one. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Let's do it. A 2-for-1 special.
My number 2, choices. I'm gonna go with a more recent one because I feel like I could do more like legendary ones, but I don't know. This more recent one has really bothered me, and I'll explain why. My number 2 game that I really regret putting down. No, you know what? I'm just gonna. It does.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I
Brad.
regret putting it down. Fuck. Is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2, the second game.
Okay.
And here is the reason why. One, I adore that fucking game. It is a visual novel. Of you've played Phoenix, right? It's a lot of reading, right? But the thing is, like, I adore both of those games. I finished the first one and I got about halfway through the second one. But the thing is, I was doing all of that while I was like holding like a little infant, like in a rocking chair. Like when Griffin was first born, I needed something where I could literally just like press A to play the game, and that's it. Sometimes I would even be doing it with my foot because you could just tap the touchscreen to advance dialogue. And
There's
I
a certain
played.
portion of the Ace Attorney. What did you say? The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2 that you played with your foot?
No, what I'm saying is you could play all of it with your foot because you can advance dialogue with the touchscreen, and there's even that story mode where it basically like plays the game for you, kind of.
It's a 2-button
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah, or a 1-button game, or a 1-foot game.
One foot game, yeah.
But here's the crazy part, right? The first game, it it's almost like both games are all one game, right? Where like it introduces like all these characters, but there's also like lots of like unknowns and cliffhangers and stuff. And that first game doesn't resolve a lot of that shit. The second game resolves a lot of that shit. And there's like major plot threads that are building, and they're building because you've played these kinds of games before. and you know that by the end of a Phoenix Wright game of Great Ace Attorney, Nick's very enthralled. He's like it builds to like crazy twists and reveals, right? And I feel like I never got those fucking reveals, those fucking twists. But Griffin started crawling and walking, and I stopped sitting around all day while an infant slept on me, so I never finished them up. And I really regret it. And now finding quiet time in this house to sit down and like play a bunch of like Great Ace Attorney is like really, really hard. I mean, those games are not short. I
They're
probably
not short. They require a lot of attention, and they require a lot of like you have to remember what was going on, because I don't want to say there's like quizzes, but you really do need to kind of be in tune with what's been happening in the game.
Well, I don't actually. It's not really that hard as far as because the Great Ace Attorney, you can basically plays itself. So like if you can hit a button for it to go into story mode, and then it'll like pick evidence for you and shit.
Ew,
You know
really?
what
I
I
didn't
mean?
know
Like
that.
you can really put that game on autopilot and just play it like a book, and it's great for that. Because some of the most frustrating parts of the series are when you're just trying to, where this is going, but you don't know the order and the things that you're supposed to pull out and stuff.
Right.
Anyways, it's it's a game that builds up to moments and twists and reveals and surprises, and I feel like I never got the payoff for a lot of threads, so I really want to finish. And I've told myself that was one of the first games on my list when I kind of wrote my gaming resolutions this year, and it was really high up on my list, even though I played only a game and a half. But I feel like if I had maybe finished that second game, um it probably would have been in my top 3, even my number 1, to be completely honest. So I was enjoying the game
Damn.
that fucking much. It really is truly, truly special games. And yeah, so I'll definitely try to find the time to revisit it later this year. It's tough. And I went from like a little baby sleeping on me while I was on parental leave for however long, fucking 2 months, to chaos all the time in my house. So I don't know. I don't know when I'll find time. I feel like if I could read before bed, I'd be able to knock a game like this out, but I've notoriously never been able to do anything before bed. I could, be cooking while laying in bed and I'd still fall asleep in 2 minutes every time, every night.
That would be really
I can't.
impressive, though, on multiple fronts. One, cooking in bed. Two, falling
No,
asleep while
but I
cooking in
hate it.
bed.
I
Damn.
hate it. Even sometimes I'll hop in bed early, and early for me
Like
is like,
you're buying yourself new
like,
time to
oh, I'm
do
gonna get
things.
7 hours of sleep tonight. Like I'm gonna stay up in bed and play some Switch or something, and still 2 minutes later, I'm just like, oh, I can't do anything, and I fall asleep, and I hate that. I fucking hate that. I'd read so much more if I wasn't like that. But anyways, that was my number 2. Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, specifically the second game.
Sweet. All right, Chris Davis, number 2.
Also, final word, I want to be clear. I put over like 60 hours into these games. These are long fucking games, and I still never finished the second one. It's crazy. So, sorry. Chris.
Well, my number 2 game is a game I only put a couple hours into because I was young and stupid and didn't realize what I could have gotten into.
How far back in time are you going, Chris Davis?
A lot further than most of our people that have been watching us right now have been alive. So,
Okay.
I'm talking about Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross.
Yes,
Dang.
I didn't know we were supposed to bring visual aids tonight.
Well, I thought I would because I like being able to show off stuff.
You were just looking at your shelf like a fucking Nolan. That's what you did.
Yeah. No. Well, no. That's kind of why I did. Yeah.
I mean, that's the secret, right? That's the secret. We all go. Although I don't really have much of a shelf, so I comb through like my spreadsheet that I keep track of every year. But if I had a shelf, that's how I do all this.
Flexing on y'all because my copy of Chrono Cross is still sealed.
Flexing, bitch. That's a greatest hits version. I don't give a shit.
Hey, that's better than nothing. It's a sealed
Also,
PS1 game. You don't see those very often.
Chris Davis, I hate to burst your bubble here, but that sealed copy of Chrono Cross, that's some like laminate seal on there. Like I used to seal
matter. They did an extra print run of that anyway.
The actual like factory seal, if you were to get like a brand new copy of like Chrono
it's a different
Cross,
material,
was like where it's actually like folded at the corners and like that's just like somebody shrink wrapped it with an hair dryer.
I know, but I got this directly from Square Soft.
An
So
an official Chrono Cross sealed PS1 brand new greatest hits goes for a whopping $32.
Hey.
Shut the fuck up. Is that it?
that's more than I paid for it. So hey. Anyway, yeah,
That's a lot lower than I thought because shit's so inflated right now.
I
Hey,
played the
how much
demo.
is my copy of Kuon worth? Kuon on PS2.
Oh,
And
that might be triple
Ninja
digits.
5 on Game Boy Advance, although I
Okay,
don't have the
this
box
is-
of Ninja 5.
You can't just start listing games for
Sorry.
no one to like look.
Yeah, he'll
now that
he'll
you've
do it
done
in the
wishes-
Discord chat for you to look at. So I played the demo for Chrono Cross back in the day. Really liked it. This game also has a legendary introductory cinematic. I don't think anyone in their right mind could ever forget watching it when they've seen it.
It's very good.
It is, but I was also 13 years old at the time. I was young and stupid and didn't realize what I had on my hands. So I played a couple hours of it. I didn't understand the story at all once you woke up on the beach for the first time. And I kind of just lost interest because I didn't understand what the fuck I was reading and watching.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I feel like the reaction that you're describing here is what most people would maybe use to describe like Chrono Trigger, because that's the one that most people obviously consider to be like the goat, the classic. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yes
about
and
that.
no. So the thing I would say about Chrono Trigger, they're definitely different styles. Chrono Trigger, I think, is a little more uplifting and upbeat and kind of straightforward, versus Chrono Cross gets real fucky real fast, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Time
It is a
travel.
very
and-
confusing, yeah, time travel and who is who and what's like, who am I and like what, like even as an adult when I played that when I was in college, even then I was still like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I need to go pull up a GameFAQs like wiki to
Yeah.
figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's like and there's like what 60 different endings to the game too, something like that.
There's a
quite
lot.
There is so much that I have read about with this game that sounds incredible for a PS1 JRPG.
No, it definitely is good for the PS1. And what I will echo with World Teller in chat, its OST is still on a normal rotation for me.
Oh yeah,
Almost at
for sure, me
least
too.
once a week, I'm listening to a Chrono Cross song. At least
Yeah.
once a week.
That's one of my favorite PS1 era soundtracks.
I've also not finished Chrono Cross, mostly because I hated it.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was
Nick,
about to say,
have
but
you?
don't you also hate it?
Have you finished Chrono Cross, Nick?
Yeah, like
Okay, I
3
was about to say, am
times,
I the only
actually.
one here that has? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, which is fine, but 3 times having never played Chrono Trigger. That's
Yeah,
the real shameful shit.
That is so I finished both Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, so I'm clearly the king.
I will preface this by saying, and I know this is like one of those examples where Brad's gonna laugh when I say this out loud because it means absolutely nothing. But like the first game I installed on my Steam Deck was Chrono Trigger. Haven't touched
Really?
it yet though.
Oh, you own
okay.
it.
Yeah, there it is.
Well, so just to, I mean, the Chrono Trigger's Steam port had a really rough launch. But
Yeah.
from what I
It's good now, though.
understand, yeah, it got a lot of patches to fix a lot of problems. So
Hey, I'm going on a trip in May. By the way, this is kind of off topic here, but I'll try to keep it relevant. Robin and I are going to attempt our honeymoon trip that we had to cancel before because of COVID. So I'll be taking my Steam Deck with me, but I'll be gone over the week that Zelda comes out. So I think that may be a prime time for me to try Chrono Trigger on my Steam Deck. I'll play a
I don't know
ghost.
about that.
Wait, is this just a fucking trip? Or are you going to make it actually honeymoony?
Well, yeah. I mean, wait, what? What kind of question is that?
Well, no, I'm saying you can't just like take a trip and say, "Hey, this will be our honeymoon trip," right? Or is it going to be like? I mean, you can't be playing video games on your honeymoon.
He wants to know if you're going to be boinking it.
I'm
No,
to clarify.
that's not what I'm
clar-
asking. I'm saying
to
it's gotta
clarify.
be romantic.
I mean,
Well,
boiking it's basically a QuickTime event for Nick.
Yeah.
No,
Like
hold
not
on.
like one of the Quantic Dream ones that go on and
hold
on. Like
What I will
a
say,
God of War.
to defend Nick here, I did not
Do I
bring
need
any
to
kind of
be
portable.
defended?
You will. Hold on. No, I'm just gonna say I did not get to bring any portable gaming systems on my honeymoon. I don't even know if the Switch was out yet. It might have been, but I didn't bring one. regret it like indefinitely, because while we did have our honeymoon and we had a fantastic time, it was one of the best trips of my entire life. There was definitely a decent amount of downtime because you would go out and do a bunch during the day, go back to the hotel. I'm watching Ace Ventura in Greek on the television, and I don't really know what's going on. It's fun enough, but you know what? If I had had a Steam Deck, then that would have been amazing. Because
Yeah.
Bernadette's passed out next to me because we've had a long day, and I could just be playing some Chrono Trigger or something. That'd be great.
You got to realize Robin is like it is bedtime at 9 o'clock sharp, and I'm the kind of person who goes to bed midnight at the earliest most times. So it's like there's a good solid window where it's like, well, I could be sitting here playing a game, and that's when I'm going to do it. But my point is, I was sitting here trying to think like, okay, I won't be able to play Zelda, so like, what could I play? And I was like, Chrono Trigger. It's installed already.
It'll be something else.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, Nick. Like, if you can devote 25 to 30 hours to it, then yeah, you can beat Chrono Trigger
On my trip?
Yes.
I'll be lucky to squeeze in like 4 hours over.
Well, then don't play a JRPG.
I always bring so much shit with me when I travel, and I almost touch none of it. Not even off.
Of course.
I never, ever,
No,
ever.
stop it! You're freaking me out.
This is oh god, that's not right. Stop.
Okay,
You're
somebody clip that
dead
shit out. What the fuck is that?
I hate it. I hate
The
it.
eyes, the fucking eyes. Okay, Chrono Cross is pretty
You like
cool. You
both
should
of
play
them.
that. You should play that.
I do.
Ah!
God.
It's like you're using a piece of paper to like cut your eyes off of your face.
So
You know what? It's borderline starting to look like Brad when he did the thing in the clouds.
Yeah, the Reapers ain't gonna get me.
I
So
do.
good.
I am.
Sorry.
So I do want to replay Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. I don't want. We would talk about Trigger. Really want to replay Chrono Cross. I'm kind of split on how I want to do it because it did get that pseudo remaster last year.
I hear it's bad. I hear that remaster,
which I hear mixed things about. But I could also do Duck Station on my Xbox and load up a mod that does AI enhanced textures and 60 frames per second. So I'm kind of split like how I want to do it.
Probably just do that.
I'm tempted to do that.
That's how I played Vagrant Story and didn't finish it, but it did do a pretty good job with Vagrant Story. So yeah, definitely worth trying. All right, Chrono Cross.
Wait,
it's a good
you
choice.
did a good job with, or it did a good job.
It did a good job. I did a poor job.
Yes.
But yes,
That's
it did work.
That was one of my
for-
games, right? That was one of my games that I famously never finished and always really regretted putting it down.
And now you have.
And now I finished it, and I felt good.
I'm glad for you, Brad. I did not finish it because I'm a bad person / gamer. All right, Nolan, what's your number 2? Sorry, that was a hell of a tangent on that last one, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just a bit. My number 2 is going to go to another game that I've actually played several dozen hours of, but yet to finish. Dragon Quest XI.
Ooh, I've started that like 8 times.
I really enjoyed my time with that game. I liked the story, I liked the characters, I liked the gameplay, and it's just one of those things where it's another one that, because it was such a long game, by the time I got to a decent way through it, something else happened. I think it might have come out later in the year, so it was like maybe like Christmas time. Like by the time I was getting that late, ended up just putting it down. I think I tried to pick it up once or twice since. Each time playing a decent chunk. What's up?
I just realized I said that I started that game like 8 times, and I realized I'm thinking of Dragon Quest 8 that I've started like 8 times.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Dragon Quest 11 is the one on PS4.
You never started.
Yeah, I think it originally came out on like the PS that era. Yeah, PS4.
Is that the one with? I think her name is Jade, like the girl with like the
Jade is
green?
in that game. Yes, yeah, the green with the long black hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
What's up, Brad?
No. I mean, I think that's a great fucking pick. I also didn't finish that, but I've never finished a Dragon Quest game, period.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I heard someone talking about it recently, and I think they said something like the post game is like longer than the main game.
What?
Like news
played so
story
much.
content.
That checks out.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it, it might be a lot, but hey,
Yeah, I feel like I'm
it
kind
is
of
a
in the
cool
same
game.
boat. I feel like I would like to be able to say I finished a Dragon Quest game. At this point, I don't really know or care which one it is, but I would like to finish one someday because I do like them when I'm
Mhm.
playing them. They're pretty good.
Oh, definitely. I think that's a good example of a game that while I was playing it, I was not like, oh, I can't wait to get to this next one. Like, I recall enjoying all the time I spent with it, and it's just it really sucks that I put it down. It's one of those things where I don't know if I could pick it up right now and just start from where I left off. Maybe I could,
Hmm.
and just kind of like just like grit my teeth and go. And just be like, I guess I don't remember some stuff because restarting it
I feel
just
like
is
of all these
more than likely
games,
gonna. Mhm.
I wouldn't restart. I feel like of all games, that one would be pretty easy to hop back into. I mean, it's not like the
Probably.
most complex thing, and the characters, and the getting around is pretty straightforward. I think you
I
could
feel
do
like
it.
just looking at a
I feel like
wiki or
people
something
do this.
to
They
kind of
do this
catch
too
up.
much. I think they underestimate themselves, like how much they'll remember when they pick something back up. It might be rocky at first, but you'll get there. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sort of a believer in not completely restarting at the slightest bit of resistance, mental resistance or whatever. I
But
think
there are
you
some
know,
games I think like where it's mechanically like going back to the Talos principle or something like The Witness, where I just think it would be next
but
to
I don't know.
impossible.
I don't know. That might not necessarily be true. I think we assume that, and people are very quick to restart. But like, there's been times where I've continued games that I've put down for a very long time, and it seemed impossible. But you give it an hour or two, and you're right back there. I mean, I really believe that. I mean, memories. I mean, when you have the game in front of you, you're fucking saved. You'd be surprised how much
Yeah,
shit comes rushing back.
for sure.
So
So, speaking of Dragon Quest, who is willing to take the risk and add Quest 12 to their fantasy critic?
Not is
that is a
not
Chris Davis move. We are not. We're
Mm.
trying to
that's like
win, Chris
that is
Davis.
borderline Mortal Kombat 12, Chris
No,
Davis.
that is worse than Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
12.
No, it's not. It got
What are you?
announced 2 years ago.
Yeah, they've announced
Oh
it.
God, that's not a fucking announcement. Pikmin 4 got announced, 1,000 years ago, but that doesn't mean that would have been a good pick ever until they showed a fucking trailer for
Yeah. How
it.
much trailer and gameplay have you seen of Dragon Quest 12, Chris
They
Davis?
have not officially announced the game.
Full disclosure,
Exactly.
I would not be able to distinguish one Dragon Quest from another if you showed
You know
me
what's gonna
That's
be?
screenshots.
racist.
You want to know what the craziest twist is gonna be? Is if somehow Chris Davis wins this fantasy critic. Like,
There's literal impossibility.
but
I
wouldn't it
don't
be
know.
a
That's not necessarily true. We each have like some of y'all just have 5 more, but we have a lot of picks to still make, and there's a lot of mistakes to happen in
you
those
know
picks. And counter picks can really screw people over. This fucking talk about Crispy's god tier list, but he has 2 games that I think have a good chance of not coming out this year, which is like 0 points is not a lot of
but
points.
he
So
can drop them unless they're counter picked.
no, they
Are they both
are.
counter picked? They're both
Yeah,
counter
He's
both
got
picked.
three
counterpicked.
of his games have been locked in, and
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah, it can go bad very quickly for him, but we'll see.
I mean,
But
it
hey,
went
like
bad
you
for
said,
me with Wild Hearts today, so
what do you mean?
No,
Oh,
it
because you
didn't.
counter
No,
picked
no,
it.
no,
You
no,
counter
no,
picked
no,
it.
no, no.
No, he's
Losing
saying
ten
because he
points on a
counterpicked.
counter
Yeah, 10 is
losing
not
10
bad.
points on a counter pick is not that serious. Counter picks are supposed to be hard. The risk of there's a risk of picking like something like Alan Wake, right? Because if that comes out and it's fucking good, you could lose 20 points, right? You're betting on something not coming out, and you never know. So losing 10 points on a counter pick is honestly it's okay. It's okay.
No,
0 points on a counter pick is ideal.
Nolan lost points right out of the gate and then gained back. Like
Mm.
he stands to gain like 27 points with between Wild Hearts and Theatrhythm. So
Yeah. I
shit
mean
happens
that's
fast.
that's how the game works. It's gonna look different for different people throughout the year. So we'll see.
But
But
it's
I still
starting to get
think Theater Rhythm
interesting.
overperformed. Who would have ever fucking expected that? That's ridiculous.
I
Nolan
did.
apparently did.
I
No,
did.
okay. You did not expect it to get like an 88. You probably
What?
thought it was going to be like an 82,
I'm so
84,
sorry,
which is what
chat.
Curtain Call got, which is fine. But I'm saying it overperformed a little bit. I'm
Also, you gotta
surprised.
remember these reviews are still rolling in, so like the number's not
That's
set in
true.
stone yet. I mean, numbers are never set in
Yeah,
stone.
I don't think that one's gonna move much. I think the ones that have fear of moving are the ones that are gonna get like shittier console ports later, Nick. Like with Hogwarts.
Yeah, I'm a
We'll
little
see.
worried about the Hogwarts ports.
And that could end up
Well, like
helping
it's
Nolan with his
oh
counterpick.
god, like maybe no one will review them. Fuck,
So
I
like
don't.
so like that's the thing. That's the thing, right? I have this is off
Maybe they'll be
topic.
good ports.
I have Company of Heroes 3 counterpicked, and reviews are that gonna for that are gonna drop soon. But like that game's also getting its console ports this year for an RTS. That could so like I might lose points on this counterpick, but I might gain some of those back when those console ports drop. So we'll see. We'll see.
Oh god, now you got me all worried. I thought the Hogwarts thing was behind me, but now I'm waiting for the
No, I
ports,
mean
and now I'm
you're not gonna lose like a significant amount of points, but like it might go down like a couple of points.
yeah. All right. I guess I'm next. My number 2 pick. This is a game from I think 2 years ago, maybe 3. I don't remember at this point. The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners, which I haven't
Oh.
picked it back up largely because it's like one of those things where you have a VR headset sitting there, and you have to be in a very specific like mood with a certain amount of like energy, being like I'm ready to do.
Get a Quest
I
2.
mean, I
Wait, you
have
just got a PSVR 2?
I'm getting a PSVR 2. There's a Saints and Sinners sequel coming out on PSVR 2, and I want to play it, but there is enough like story stuff going on that I thought was actually pretty interesting in Saints and Sinners 1 that I would like to finish that before starting it. But like I never expected The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners to be a particularly good video game. But not only is it a good video game, it's a good VR experience. And those are oh my god, Nolan, you're freaking me out. Though it's a good VR experience and just a solid video game. And it does some of the coolest shit with VR that actually has me really really excited to see how they kind of expand upon it in the sequel. Because I mean, it's a genuine like survival horror experience, like super limited ammunition. You're sneaking around, like ducking under, like trying not to like capture the attention of zombies by like stepping on anything and like trying to sneak through buildings and stuff. And a lot of times you don't have enough ammo to like really to take out zombies. So it's a lot of like trying to like manage crowd control with by stabbing zombies in the head, and you have to be like you actually have to like use your hand in real time to like try and plant a knife in their head before they like get on you and start biting you and shit. And
Yeah.
like that stuff is really intense, and I've never experienced that before in a game. So but the good news is, unlike the Talos Principle, and this is a game I feel like I can probably pick back up and jump right back into where I was, and after about 15 minutes of kind of awkwardly trying to figure out how to play again, I'll be good to go. It just means I have to dust off my headset again and put it on and go.
Well,
What's up, Brett?
I was gonna say I actually tried to start playing this a few weeks ago.
You tried and failed?
I tried. I got through like the tutorial area and got to the bus. Unfortunately, it just does not run well on my setup, so I had to stop.
That's weird because you have a beast of a PC compared to mine.
I don't know,
sure.
not anymore. You've got a better graphics card than
Not
me.
anymore. That game looks like ass.
But I mean,
It's
it
not
actually
ass.
doesn't look like ass, by the way.
It looks like ass.
It
He played
does not
Half-Life
look like
Alex. He played
That's
Half-Life
true.
Alex just
That
fine.
is true. That is true. Especially compared to Half-Life Alex, it does look kind of like ass. But when I played it last time, I was not using it was before I got my 3080 or 3070.
That game runs on Quest 2. Like, why is your computer struggling with it?
Because I'm not using a Quest 2, and Quest 2, the meta version of that game is evidently toned down in visual quality, from what I understand.
Well, of course, but
Yeah,
it still runs just fine.
Yeah,
on a thing that is not connected to anything. So
it runs just fine at a much lower resolution and settings on a thing that's not connected to anything. Yeah, that makes sense. But my system, it's getting old, and I need to build a new computer.
What kind of GPU you got?
A 1080.
I'm trying to remember what I had when I played it. I think I had like a 10.
I would turn down the resolution a little bit because you're playing on an index, right?
Yeah.
See, that's
Can
what
you
blows my mind
adjust the
because
resolution on that?
if my wait, what is mine? My fucking oh god, not a Quest. What's the
Vive?
other one? No, it's a Facebook one or whatever the fuck. Oh my god,
Oculus,
Oculus
Oculus
Rift
4,
S, Oculus
whatever.
Rift S. If my Oculus Rift S can handle it, I'm pretty sure your Vive can handle it. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
What's your computer?
the real problem was that
Oh, I know.
it would run smooth at times, but I would get into a certain area and it would load into areas, or I shift my perspective too fast, and I would get a lot of load stuttering. So it became very hard for me to play and kind of plan out my movements and stuff. So
That is unfortunate. Maybe you should try again if you end up getting a better graphics card because the game is really good, and I put it on my top 10 list that year because it was just one of those experiences. Even though I didn't even come close to finishing it, it was just one of those things where it's like this is legitimately one of the most unique gaming experiences I've had all year, and
You weren't
it's
even
another one of the.
close. You weren't even
Hmm?
close, and you put it on your
I
top
was.
10.
I mean, I played it for like 15 hours probably, but I think I still had another.
Oh,
I
that's a
probably had
longer
twice.
game than I thought.
I
yeah,
mean, it's a pretty beefy game. I mean, there's a lot going on in that game, a lot more than you would probably expect, especially for a VR thing. But I just had so many unique things happen to me in that game that I've never really experienced anywhere else, and I was like, this is a great showcase for VR as technology, and it's just way deeper than I expected. Don't go into it expecting like Telltale's The Walking Dead level of like storytelling or anything, but everything else about that game kind of does right by the IP. So I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna try it out. Especially, I'm gonna give it one more
I was
solid
thinking about
attempt
this
before the sequel comes out.
again, a little off topic, but hey, Resident Evil 8 in VR is probably going to be
Hmm.
pretty cool, right? Because the problem with 7 is it was, tied to the old PlayStation VR, and it was kind of stupid, right? Because you still had to use a controller or whatever, so you were like aiming with your fucking head. And now it's like an actual proper VR thing, right? Where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Resident Evil 4 VR or whatever, right? Where you're
Like,
actually like doing stuff with your guns in your hands, and
it's
that's
one of
cool,
those
right?
things. Yeah, no, it does look really cool, and I'm sitting here thinking like I don't know how keen I am on the prospect of playing Resident Evil 8 again so
Oh, you
soon.
hate Village. That's
I
right. This is
fuck
like
you.
a
I don't,
double-edged.
motherfucker. I don't hate Village. It was on my top 10. I just don't
Oh.
like. I'm not ready to replay it. But like
It's one of
I have
it's one of those pity like tens though, right? Like you really
no.
seem kind of
I
bummed
gave
out
it. It
every
was
time
like
it
my
comes
number
out.
8.
You seem a little sad every time it comes up.
That is not. You're making that.
Okay, okay.
You are projecting, motherfucker. I
All
don't.
right, all right, all right. Fine, fine,
I
fine.
like 8 a
What number
lot.
was it, by the way? Just out of
Like my
curiosity.
number 8, I think. I think
Oh,
it was my number 8.
okay. I got eights like
But
that. I get it.
I mean, but like I'll have a PSVR too. So like, and I have Resident Evil Village. So I think that means I can just boot it up and play it, right? With the VR mode, or do I have to like
Mm,
pay for it?
that
Right?
would be crazy. That would be
That would be
fucking
ridiculous.
crazy.
I have
I'll
the
look
game.
it
I'll
up.
have
Well,
the
hey,
hardware.
you could play the DLC now. Oh, that's what it was. You were so like, I will never touch that. I will die before I play that DLC. That
Okay,
was
first
like
of
your
all, I did not say that, but two, I have not played it, and I have no interest in it at this point.
exactly.
So
That's what I'm saying. But you were all about the Resident Evil 7 DLC, and
It
the like. You almost seemed like taken aback when I said you should play that DLC before the next show or something. You were like,
Resident Evil
I will
7
never.
Resident Evil 7 was my game of the year that year, so I clearly like it more than Resident Evil Village. I
No, I
still do.
believe you, but I mean,
by the way,
I'm
the
just saying
VR
you
mode
seem sad.
is the VR mode is free as
Cool.
DLC.
So yeah, I will play it because I mean, of course, I'll have the hardware. It'd be stupid not to.
But the DLC will be like a cool new thing for you to experience in VR,
Sure.
including the whole mannequin stuff,
I
which
will
is pretty
I
crazy.
will explore the option and see what happens. Shut shut the fuck up. All right, Brad, what's your number 1 pick?
Oh, we're on our number one, huh?
Yeah.
My number one pick. Oh yeah, this is a crazy one. The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine.
Ooh, you never finished that, huh?
No, I mean I barely started it.
Damn, that's good.
Here's the
That's a
thing
good.
about
That's a very
here's the
good.
thing about. I know it's good. Fucking,
It's good.
you don't have to fucking tell me it's good, you wiener. The thing is,
Hey, Brad, it's good.
I always told myself that like, I knew it was like a big thing, and I'd always told myself like this is not something I want to just play willy nilly because my life is crazy and I don't have a lot of time to sit on my computer or whatever. So I don't want to like I've always told myself like I want to find like a really good time to play this. Something when I really needed something like this. I have a lot of
Yeah.
fondness. As much as I talk shit about like The Witcher 3, like and like booze CD Project Red, it's more just me ranting about, shut up about the combat. It wasn't even the combat that probably bothered y'all. It's all these other things that people don't talk. I rant a lot about Witcher 3, but it's still a game that was like
Yes.
my number 3 game of the year that year or whatever. And The Witcher 3 meant a lot to me because, it was finally like connecting the story of the games to the story of the books, right? Which I really liked. And, Blood and Wine, I know like is related to like a lot of those threads as well, especially some of the characters. And I always knew that I was going to play it and I wanted to play it. And I've always just dabbled a little bit because I kind of just wanted to make sure that everything's running okay, but I was always still waiting for like a perfect time to play it. And it was like literally I was waiting for like a time, like a sad time in my life where I needed something like that I could just like honestly just lose myself in. Like because I knew, I mean, my dogs were getting older. Like serious, I was thinking about like sad times in my life where it's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna play this and I'm not gonna think about anything. I specifically saved it for something like that. But you know what? just
Fuck it.
my life is too crazy. I'm just too busy all the fucking time, and I never found those moments. And you know what? I still needed things like that, but I never had time to do it. And I still have not touched Blood and Wine beyond like those, like the first, honestly, probably like half an hour I've only played. And it was just like kind of seeing how it run on my various systems. Like literally, I've installed it on PS4, PS5, PC, Steam Deck just to make sure it runs okay, just waiting for like a good moment to play it. And I got 2 kids now and I'm working all the time and it's just like fuck. It doesn't work like that. Like
I can
it's
see it
crazy.
now. He's gonna see his kids off on their way to college. They're gonna
Yeah,
leave the house,
now I could
and he's
finally
gonna
play
click.
some
It's
Blood
like
and Wine.
now's the time.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Like literally, I'll be like, oh well, there's a new show coming. When that show comes out, then it'll get me all excited to play Blood and Wine. And the moment was never perfect. It really is one of those times where I'm looking for like the perfect moment, and
There was
things be
time
crazy.
now.
Things be
But
crazy. So yeah, that's why it's my
yeah,
number one because it's one I think about a lot, and something I'm still not willing to commit unless I really do have like I fucking, you know, I don't even know what could happen that would give me so much free time, honestly. But
So
I'm
what I
still
will
waiting.
say about Blood and Wine, and honestly, I can't remember if I finished it, and if I didn't, one of the reasons is The Witcher 3 DLCs were not half an hour. They were not 45 minutes.
like
They
Nope.
were
15 or
not
20
3
hours.
They're like
hours. They
whole
were all like
games.
20 to 30 hours
Yeah.
of good content.
Yeah.
Like Blood and Wine was super fucking long. And so I can't remember if I finished it or not, but I really did enjoy what I played of it.
Yeah.
And I think similar
Yeah.
to you, I think I was almost at the point where I was maybe kind of between PCs. Like I knew I was going to be getting one soon. And I was like, oh, well, you know what? Let me just wait a little bit and then I'll finish this once I have my new PC and they'll run so much better and look so much better and stuff. And then I can't remember if I did or not. It's
What
been
I'm
a
thinking in my
while,
head
but
now, what I'm thinking in my head now, honestly, is I'm gonna wait till they announce and start showing the next Witcher game, which will probably be like a couple of years before it actually comes out. But that'll get me hyped enough to like hop back
for
into
sure.
Blood and Wine. So
I just want Nolan to know that when you went to scratch your eye, when you did this, your eye
Hmm.
went through your fingers. I just want you
Hmm.
to know that. Really. Uh, all right.
Stop
Chris
bringing it
Davis.
up.
Chris Davis, what's your number one?
My number one game actually stems from a game I talked about earlier. And I'll just come out with it. It's Chrono Trigger.
What? You put both Chrono
you
games
did
on your
Chrono
list?
Cross and Chrono Trigger. You just want
Motherfucker.
to do
Well,
show
hang
and
on,
tell.
hang on.
This
hang on.
motherfucker.
Chrono Trigger deserves to be my number one because it's not a game I regret because it's gone. I don't know what happened, but somewhere, somehow, I lost my cartridge for Chrono Trigger, and
While you were
Probably
playing
sitting
it,
in like an old DS.
I don't remember what
somewhere.
happened.
Yeah, right.
I checked my 3DS, and my DSi. I could not find it.
hey, if you're anything like me, you find like this is I can't explain this, guys. I was going through my closet cleaning my stuff out. I found like 2 DSs that I completely forgot I had. Like
Oh.
I was like, what the fuck? Where did these come from? And there was a game in one of them. maybe that's what's happening here.
What was the game?
I think it was
MILF
Professor
Manor.
Layton. It was one of the Professor Layton games. I don't remember which one.
Well, the biggest tragedy about this was that I did everything. I was just about to 100% the game. I was just like my next time I was going to boot it up, I was going to go fight Lavos and finish the game.
Oh, well then.
And I lost my copy.
You
So-
saw like all the charms of Chrono Trigger then.
I did, but also like that is a game with like 7 different endings based on what time period you choose to fight Lavos and what all you've accomplished in the game. Like that's a game that experience was stolen from me, and I need to go.
Maybe
like-
actually stolen.
It could have been.
Nolan walked away from his computer right now, and
Oh,
I'm
God.
half
What if you let
expecting him to
someone-
come.
Hello.
I just
I was hoping you'd say Demon Souls. It would be hilarious if I found out you didn't actually finish Demon Souls.
I finished Demon Souls and I started New Game Plus on that. So,
oh
but the,
man,
the
you know
difference
what?
between me losing that and Demon Souls is that I know who has my copy of Demon Souls.
You know,
There is a culprit responsible that I can identify easily.
Let me ask you though.
Is it-
If I die, would you come like asking about it? You know, hit up Malia for your copy of Demon Souls.
Look, I would bring flowers to
You
your
would wait at
funeral,
least a
but I
month.
would bring up the topic with your kids.
he'd wait. He'd wait at
Wow.
least a month. You know, you know what? You know what, Brad? I hope this goes all. I hope you like go like if you haven't already, go establish your last will and testament, and leave Demon Souls to Chris Davis in your
No,
will.
I'm gonna leave it to Carlos or somebody. It'd be hilarious. Though.
Just pass it on to somebody else.
Tell you what, the
Oh my
worst part
goodness.
about the entire saga is that Brad has never provided proof of life, so I have no proof that he actually still has it. Like,
I've
you've
taken
thrown that
pictures
away
of it.
like a year
I've
ago.
actually really seriously thought about bringing it to you and having some other game in there and still leaving it, like driving off.
I would hate you so much. I really
Oh my
would.
god, this is the gift that keeps on giving. All right, Nolan, I think it's your turn.
So yeah,
I was-
I was looking at my 3DS games and I was trying to see if I had Chrono Trigger, but I don't think I ever got it on 3DS. I was kind of like looking through all like my carts and stuff, and I don't think I ever got that one. All right,
Before
so
you
my
came on
final
Steam,
game.
that was that 3D or that DS copy of Chrono Trigger was the closest I ever came to starting that game, and it never happened. So
No, you did start it, Nick, and you said it was mid and you put it down.
is that what happened?
Yeah,
I mean,
that actually happened. I remember.
I was young and stupid. Okay, that was like very early days.
Was it-
We
was
all
that
get
on the Game
mulligans,
Boy?
man.
Was that ever on the Game Boy Advance?
No.
Chrono
No.
Trigger? I can't remember how I played it. Was there a PlayStation PSP
There- yeah,
port or something? Or
There was a PS1 port.
version.
what was that,
There was
Brad?
there was a it was on PS1 and I think Anthology, that version of it also came to like PSN, so it could have been any number of things really.
Yeah.
'Cause I could have sworn I played it portably in a portable, but I can't remember. Anyway,
It could have
Um,
been like you could have been playing the Super Nintendo ROM on a modded PSP or something.
I might have done something like that. So anyway, my final game that I've put in over 60 hours, but
Damn.
not finished. And I've picked it up multiple times, and it's actually still installed on my computer. And over the past year, I think I've even picked it up a couple times and dabbled in it a bit. Looks like the last time I played it was July of last year, so it's been a hot minute. But I've definitely tried to put more into it. But it's Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh,
I never finished it. I'm fairly certain I'm close to the end. But I think one of the reasons I didn't is because of my not necessarily completionist tendencies, but in a Yakuza game there is so much going on, in so many side quests, and I want to do everything, and I want to collect everything, and I want to see all of like the fun little side quests and stuff. And
Yeah.
so I spend so much time doing all of that that it takes a very long time to finish the actual game. And so, I
Yeah.
mean, according to Steam, I have 62 hours in the game.
Is that one that you feel
Wow.
you can just jump back into, probably? Or
Oh, for sure, and that's
As long
definitely
as
one
you
that I'm
finish
going to finish.
as long as you finish the property management mini game, or
Oh, dude,
the end
I've
game.
made so much money off of the property management mini game in that. Like
I'm
I
It's
put
gonna
impressed.
so
keep being
much.
hard to jump back into.
Yeah, no. So I was able to like max out, like there's like the weapon like crafts lady in that one shop off to the
Mhm.
side. I forget her name now, but I have like that
Yeah.
almost maxed out like money wise, because it takes a lot of money. I no,
Mm.
I got plenty of money. I did so much of that property management mini
Are
game,
any
but
of y'all here gonna pick up Ishin?
for sure.
All right, awesome. Yeah, me too.
Especially because it's on my fantasy critic.
There it is. God damn it, Nolan is
You really
raking
did
in
pick a
points
lot
in
of Brad
February.
games, and it makes me mad.
Dude, what do you mean? I fucking play those games too, Brad. Just because
I
you like
know
them
you
doesn't mean I can't.
that's true, but like
I,
Wild
I,
Hearts,
I,
Theater Rhythm. Come on, those are.
Brad, that's why I fucking picked this up to show you. I have the fucking first Final Fantasy
Uh,
Theater Rhythm game, and I played a shit ton of
fair
it.
enough. Fair enough.
That's yep. I think Nolan
The
wins this
only
one.
Man
one
pork.
that I will make the argument for that potentially is one that I wouldn't normally play is Wild Hearts, because I've never been a huge Monster Hunter fan, but
Mm,
I have played a decent amount of Monster Hunter in the past few years, and this one looked, in my opinion, like I liked the style, I guess, better than Monster Hunter when I saw it. So I was definitely excited for this one.
Is anybody here planning on picking up Wild Hearts before the next
me?
podcast, or the
I'm
next
playing it. Before the next podcast, I don't know
or next two
if I'll
podcasts?
have
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, I'm
curious.
I'm definitely gonna play it.
Just curious. Okay. Where were we? No, were we on?
Yeah, I just finished my third one.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, my number one is the first one that popped into my head immediately when we thought of this topic, and I was like, I'm so deeply ashamed of this. Um, this was my
This
number
better be a good
two
one.
game of the year.
Give us the year.
Not 2021. My number 2 game of the year in
Oh.
2021.
Recent.
Yeah. It Takes Two.
Wow.
It's still
You never
installed.
finished It Takes Two. That is a long
no.
game.
I mean, yeah, first of all, it's a long ass game, but it is also a fucking magnificent, brilliantly designed game. That obviously
did you get?
I think the last last thing I remember doing, and this may not be the last thing we actually did, but the thing that sticks out was doing the RPG, like the isometric dungeon crawler type level. But we played a lot of that game. Obviously,
Why don't you just play it without Robin?
because it takes two.
Hey,
Nolan,
there you
it
go.
takes two.
There
It
you
Takes Two.
go.
And this is a game I have left installed since, because I was like, I will not let this game go unfinished. It is too good. But it is also one of those things that, like, it requires both of our participation, and Robin has to be jokes. Prepare your jokes. Robin has to be in the mood to play this game, and I'm not finding that moment where she's like, I'm down to do some co-op with you, is not always the easiest. So that's kind of
That's usually how I get the night started. You want to do some co-op?
this sounds like I'm blaming my wife, and I kind of am.
No, I mean,
but
I know the type.
so but I will say this: when we play that game, we both
sometimes I think you're the same, Nick. To be honest,
probably
I gotta be in the mood to watch
No,
one of the greatest films of all time.
Yes, no, I totally get it. But I will say this: every time we've sat down to play it, we've played all the way through one full chapter. Each time we've sat down, and we both were like, "This game is so cool! It's so endlessly rewarding and brilliant, and like just constantly blowing my mind with all the cool mechanical shit that they come up with." Quite honestly, It Takes Two is kind of a goat in a lot of ways. So I will not let this game go unfinished. This is the year I'm going to finish it. I've left it installed on my PS5 since we started playing it, because I know I'm going to go back to it. So this is the year.
You know,
What,
I
Brad?
feel bad about this. I feel bad about this podcast. I feel like the podcast is going to end with like a narrator saying, "And none of those games were ever touched again."
You know what? I'll just slide that in there at the end for dramatic effects.
Oh.
But yeah, no, It Takes Two is fucking phenomenal. All right,
No, I definitely plan on at some point finishing at least 2 of mine.
I'm a
Hmm.
little. I don't know if the Talos principle will come to
Yeah,
pass
man.
because like it's too much game.
I'd love to see you just turn on that game and see what happens. That would be a good stream. You know, I think there was even like a Giant Bomb segment video feature they did called "Load My Last Save" or some shit like that,
Oh, that's pretty
where
clever. Yeah.
they just loaded up a save and tried to play from there.
Maybe I should just
That
do
would
that.
be
Maybe I
fun.
should just jump back into late game
It'd be
Talos Principle
cool.
and see if I could pick up the thread
I
and keep
would
it going.
love. I would. That's such a good fucking game. Not enough people played that fucking game. It's because
You know
it was
what?
expensive and it felt so worth it, but it was expensive, so it was a hard sell for people who have never
Yeah.
like heard of it. You know,
You know what? I
from the
think you just
makers of
convinced me.
Serious Sam.
I think you just convinced me to do a stream like that where I think it's the only way it's going to happen. Only ever going to cross the finish line at this point
Yeah,
is by picking up
do it.
that same thread, and seeing if I can take it across the finish line.
Do it.
So perhaps I'll do that. Ooh, is that a soundtrack, Nolan? You're holding it. What is that?
No, it's my 3DS case
Oh,
or
that's pretty
my
nice.
DS. Yeah, it's
Man,
just a little.
when are they going to
You know
put
how
the
much I
Wind
paid for
Waker?
this? $0, Nick, because this is back when Nintendo would give you like points for buying games,
Ah,
and you could go and redeem it on their shop. And
those are the
that's how I got
days.
this.
Those are the days. Man, when are they going to put that Wind Waker HD game on the Switch? Man, I'd love to play that again. All right. Okay. I'm gonna remember. Like I said before we did this recording, I put the call out to the community to see if anybody else wanted to share some of what they would pick. I just told people to pick one. So first up, Prince of the Universe says the 999 series, aka the Zero Escape games.
Ooh,
I've
that's
only
a good
played a bit
one.
of the first game and I enjoyed what I played, but I have to be in a specific mood to play visual novels, and it just hasn't grabbed me. But he knows people love that game. Diseased Cruel Pig Discord. It says Impossible Creatures. I don't recognize that one. He says I was pretty
Oh,
awful at
That's the
strategy
Wii
games back
game
then.
with the no. That's not Impossible Creatures. Okay,
I don't
He
know
says I
that
was
never
one.
pretty
mind.
awful at strategy games back then, so some of the later single player levels filtered me because I didn't understand basic concepts like micro or kiting. It's a super creative game, so I'd love to finish it someday.
I think that's
Tack.
kind of like a Spore type RTS or something.
That
But
would
A
make
little
sense.
bit, yeah. You, from what I remember, it was an RTS in which you took animals and you mutated them to turn them into like weird things, like a half scorpion, half lion, or something like that, or and you use them as an army to go against other armies.
These are some really interesting choices from the community. I gotta be honest. That's freaking me out, Nolan. Um, Tack says, "I divine cybermancy." Do you know what this game is? I don't.
yeah,
It's an
yeah,
old FPS RPG on the Source engine,
it's like
made
Deus
by the
Ex inspired,
guys who
but
would
it's
later make
indie.
Necromunda: Hired Gun. It's an incredible Eurojank game with a confusing plot and rather poor translation, but it also is shockingly deep where character building, as far as character building and mechanics go. When I bought the game for $1.50 in like 2014, I had no idea what a gym I was sitting on and ended up dropping it after a measly couple of hours. Knowing that the game actually, what that game actually is nowadays, really makes me tempted to go back and give it a go. You should do that, Tack. In the spirit of this top three, you should totally do that. And lastly, Hi-Fi Skies, which I'm guessing is Zero Skies in Discord, says, "I think I could say I regret dropping 13 Sentinels. Aegis Rim when it first came out because I missed all the discussions on the plot with people. I did eventually get back to it and finish, but talking with people on the plot, like finishing a new movie, was a missed feel good opportunity." Oh, so I guess he wants to go back and have the opportunity to talk to people about it replay. It sounds like he actually finished it, which
Well, I mean, he could have the opportunity to talk to you about it if you'd start it.
You could absolutely talk to me about it because that is another game I'm hoping to find time to play
Nick will
this year.
never play that video game, Chris Davis.
Just
He will never play that video game.
is it at least it's still installed on your machine?
Yes, it's still installed on my PlayStation 5.
There is hope.
There is some hope. All right,
He will never play it. You should get the Switch version if you're ever going to play it.
Let's wrap this up real quick with some honorable mentions. These are just quick shout outs. If anybody else wants to share other games that they considered on their list.
I can go through a list real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, just blast through them.
Yeah, all right, go for it.
Cyberpunk 2077, Psychonauts 2, Spelunky 2, Super Hot Mind Control Delete, Rogue Legacy 2, Disco Elysium, Indivisible, The Talos Principle, Crosscode, Dead Cells, State of Decay 2, Deadly Premonition, Little King Story, The Wolf Among Us. Dude, I have a lot of games, and that's just like the ones I quickly was able to get.
Yeah.
I even share a couple of those. So.
There's a lot of good shit on that list.
It hurts. I never finished Subnautica.
What?
I finished that. Subnautica. I never finished Subnautica.
You talking about Subnautica? It was probably a combination of you and Nolan. You played that, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, the combination of hearing y'all talk back and forth about Subnautica is what got me to try Subnautica and made me fall in love with survival games. And you haven't finished it?
I mean, I basically got to end game. I got to like the deepest you can go.
You're standing on the rocket pad looking at it, and you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and just stop now.
No, I mean, I never actually built my rocket, but I mean, shit gets away from you. Life, and then just moving on to other things, and it's not like I value Subnautica any less because I didn't finish it, because
no, of course not.
The Subnautica experience is honestly at its best in those first handful of hours, really. But
for sure.
I mean, I did play like so much of that fucking game. I just never like put a bow on it, and honestly, it's like that with a lot of games. Someone asked if I had finished Outer Wilds, but I have finished Outer Wilds, but I have not played the DLC, and it's one of those. It's one of those where it's not really fair to this list because I've never actually started it. But like Blood and Wine, which I have started, I've been looking for a really good moment, and in the past 2 or 3 years, I've had so little time to sit down at my PC and play PC games, and so I've never actually played through that. But just other things, obviously Final Fantasy 14, I still have never finished Sekiro. Suikoden 5 is a game legendarily, in my mind at least. Have never, I love, but I've talked about that one recently on a podcast because I got that running on my Steam Deck, and I have started playing that again. But then I put it down again because a million other fucking things. It's this cursed podcast. Sometimes I try to get into the mindset of like, let's just not give a shit about the podcast and just play something. But it's tough. It's tough.
I feel you. Chris Davis, do you have any other honorable mentions you want to share?
Yeah. I had 2 that I wanted to mention. One was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I did a lot of progress on that. I think I came close to the very end of the game, but I got to the level where you have to do the chase with the train, and I could not keep up with the train, CJ. And I stopped. But I did kind of plan on remedying that because I did last year pick up a disc copy that I want to power up.
Are you talking about of the remaster?
No, of the original version.
Oh,
they did a reprint on last gen Xbox of that game. So I thought that was really.
That's probably the way to go then if you're gonna try, because that remaster collection was poo butt.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a real shame because I actually considered going back and replaying the original GTA or the PS2 GTA trilogy because obviously those games are classics, and I would love to do that.
I've never played San Andreas.
Ever?
Really?
But the thing is, those games came out when I was in college, and I lived with people who played so much of those games
that you feel like you have.
Well, not just that, but like, I almost couldn't like stomach even looking at them anymore because I saw so much of those fucking games. So yeah, never played San Andreas.
I would also go ahead and mention Final Fantasy X. I didn't
That's a
finish that one.
Damn,
I'll tell you
a
why.
gap.
one
You
is
want
that
to
was
talk
a
about
great
good
ending
endings?
too.
Well,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. I got all the way
Couldn't
to the
beat
part
Seymour.
right after you beat Sin, and you got that pseudo Rainbow Road esque area past Sin. And
That's the end
I
of the
fucked up
game,
my
right?
save where I got trapped in there and I couldn't
Close.
get out, and I was under leveled for what I needed to do. And I just got so pissed off at being under leveled, I would have to lose like 5 hours of progress if I wanted to
Ooh,
do that. So I just
Chris
kind of
Davis.
stopped.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because I'm gonna go ahead and add to my list here Final Fantasy X-2. I never finished that game.
I never
but
played
never
that
finished
at
N2.
all. So
Has an
N2
amazing
was good.
combat
For
system.
what I played.
Your save snafu is the reason a similar save snafu is why I've never finished Dark Cloud 2, even though I adore that game.
Oh
I
God, Dark
lost,
Cloud
like-
2 is another good one that I've never finished.
Wait,
Never
you
played that
I
one.
thought you have finished Dark Cloud 2, Nick.
Nope. I finished Dark Cloud 1, but not 2. But I played a lot of Dark Cloud 2. But yeah, go ahead and consider
Well,
that an honorable mention for me.
I was kind of like in the towards the end of the game in Dark Cloud 2, and I just did like 10 hours of pure like side questing. There's so much content in that game. And then I overwrote that save, and I never forgave the game. But I adore Dark Cloud 2.
Yeah, that game's so good. All right, in the spirit of how Nolan did his list, I'm going to rattle off these really quickly. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Oh,
Okay.
go ahead. Sorry.
one more I wanted to mention. Darksiders 2. Never beat that. I got past where you got to the Death Lord that held the souls of humanity and did his thing, and then the game kept going, and I was like, okay, this is too much. I need to stop.
That's a big game, and it's also a really good Zelda clone. Just like really solid Zelda clone.
Definitely, yeah.
Best in the trilogy for sure.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Don't even call it a trilogy. That third
Okay.
one's insulting.
That
played
the third one's actually pretty decent, Brad.
It's not as bad as you may think, but it does not live up to 2. That's for sure.
It is the lesser of the 3 because I played all 3 games, but I will say it's still pretty decent.
Wait, you finished 3 but not 2?
Yeah, I finished 1 and 3.
That is shameful. All right, my honorable mentions: Xenoblade Chronicles 3, In Sound Mind, which I played for my horror stream last year, which was just really, really great. And I left it installed because I was like, this is one I definitely want to make sure I get back to.
Give me a deep cut, Nick. I want something old.
Something old?
Yeah. A legendary Nick put down.
Persona 4? Is that
There
old?
you go. That's a fucking good one.
Okay.
Also Persona 5. Persona 4 because
I've played since I became an adult.
I've played like 20 plus hours of Persona 4 like twice. Like I've started the game, played for 20 hours, started the game, played 20 hours, never finished it. But I love that game. I don't know why I can't just same thing with Persona 5. I don't know why I kind of like peter off after 20 hours of any Persona game, but I want to be able to finish a Persona game.
20 hours of those games, I think. Because if you've only played 20 hours, you've not even come close to like.
No, not even remotely. I cannot believe, I'm actually pretty ashamed of myself. I put Persona 5 on my top 10 that year because I loved the 20 hours that I spent with it, but I have not played
Persona 5
enough.
is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
I tried to pick it back up sometime last year. I can't remember when. And I picked it up and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
that
a hard
was
one
one
to
that
jump
was
back into.
rough. Yeah.
I never finished Persona 4 either, but I still blame chat for that one.
How is this for a deep cut? It's not like an old game, but like, probably didn't think you were going to hear me say it. Paper Mario and the Origami King. I played a lot of that game, and I was enjoying it, and I never finished it.
Shame.
Fire Emblem Three Houses, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Invisible Ink.
So good.
You played Bloodstained Ritual of the Night? When did you play that?
Wait, is that Ritual of the Night's just the name of Bloodstained, right? Like it's Bloodstained.
Yes,
that's the original Bloodstained. Yeah. I played like a couple hours of it.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Invisible Ink, which made my top 10 that year, and I never finished it.
Brad, were you thinking of Curse of the Moon?
No, I'm thinking Ritual of the Night.
Curse of the Moon. I just definitely didn't know we started Ritual of the Night.
No Man's
You never
Sky.
finished a run in Invisible Ink?
No, I
Are you
didn't. I
sure?
didn't. Yeah, I'm sure, but I love that game.
That shit is so
Um,
good. That game is so good.
I know. No Man's Sky, Mafia 3, Dragon Age Inquisition. I've never played. I've never gotten out of the hinterlands.
Oh,
Um,
that's actually surprising because that seems like some. You played the first two, right?
yeah, yeah.
That
Uh,
seems surprising.
The
Like
hinterlands
it
were a
is.
Nick,
mistake.
Nick of that
We'll
era to
s-
put down a game seems surprising to me.
we will see what happens when they finally show Dragon Age 4. If it looks exciting, I may use that as inspiration to go back to Inquisition. Um, yeah, that's all I'll mention. I mean, we already talked about Chrono Trigger, so that's it.
Outside of Zelda, you've never really been like that big on like swords and fireball fantasy, Nick.
I mean,
Or
I've
am
played like 100
I
hours of
off the mark
Skyrim.
there?
Uh,
Skyrim, yeah, everybody played
I've played a fuck ton
Skyrim.
of
Okay,
Final Fantasies.
yeah, you're right. Maybe I missed the mark on that one. You're no Carlos who fucking despises anything with a sword in it, right?
No, definitely
Mm,
not. In fact, I'm probably
mm.
more. I'm probably more. This is broadly speaking here, but like I'm probably more likely to get invested in a fantasy game than I am in like a sci-fi game.
Really?
Typically,
Hmm.
I mean, sci-fi can certainly capture my attention, but not nearly as often as like fantasy stuff.
That's what
Um,
I'm worried about for Starfield
yeah,
because that's the general population as well. I
but
think.
Starfield is exciting to me because of the approach to like science fiction, where it's like future Earth, like NASA and shit. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't like that. Sounds really exciting. Brad doesn't agree with me, but I think that's the thing that makes me more excited than anything about that game. So we will see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Who drafted that? Was that Crispy? Wait, who has
No,
Starfield?
No,
me,
Brad.
me.
Brad has Starfield. Ooh,
Yeah, that was pick number
interesting.
2. The way I see it, just give you my reasoning here, real quick here, is I think it has a potential to kind of like underwhelm, sure, but I don't think it would ever score like tragically bad. I always bring up like the Cyberpunk review. Some games are so big that even on when they bottom out, unless it's like a complete fucking disaster, like they're still gonna score okay, right? Like people hate fucking Fallout 4 and it still scored well, right? But the point is, I think Starfield has a potential to reach higher than like almost any other game that we drafted outside of like Zelda, to be completely honest. Because there have been Bethesda Game Studios games like Skyrim, like Fallout 3, like Oblivion, that have been in those mid 90s ranges, and those are double points scores, once you get above 90. And well, I don't necessarily wouldn't hang my hat on Starfield reaching that. I know that I had to pick something that could maybe reach that high. And
You
I
had to make
think,
a bold choice. Yeah.
yeah, it is my one of my riskier choices, but I think I don't think I'm gonna like lose points on it or anything. But I think there's that potential that I think only Zelda has, honestly. Besides it, really, except
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, really, nothing scores that high anymore,
Yeah.
really. So yeah,
All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it
off
for
topic.
tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll try and get back on track doing these we'll do a top 3 every couple months, or maybe more. I don't know. So stay tuned
How
for
about
those.
this? How about this? There's no plan for the release of these, but when the timing is right, you'll see another one.
There we go. That's when the moment is right. Uh, it will emerge. But yeah, in the meantime, guys, we'll be back next week, obviously for a new episode. Hopefully, Crispy will be back. Fingers crossed. And in the meantime, join us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. We'd love to have you in there. You can find all of our podcasts over at 4playernetwork.com. Check out our top 10 videos from 2022 if you haven't already. And of course, again, you've heard us talk about this fantasy draft multiple times tonight. It's so much fun. And if you haven't yet, please go back and listen to the first episode we recorded this year. We did our initial draft as one of the most fun. I think it's some of the most fun I think I've had on a podcast. Period. Go check it out. And that whole thing is going to be running throughout the year. There's money writing on this too, so it should be a good time. So check that out. And be sure there's a link in the show notes if you want to follow along and keep up with the points and stuff.
Like, if
But
we
yeah,
weren't having fun with it, we wouldn't be bringing it up every episode for the past 6 weeks. So,
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's going to be you're going to
I
continue
told
to
y'all
hear.
this would be more fun than reading a list of 200 games.
Yeah, it absolutely is. In fact, I can't imagine going back. So yeah, join us again next week, guys. I think we'll have some new games to talk about. There's, like we said, a lot of stuff's dropping right now. A lot of stuff on Nolan's list in particular. So yeah. In the meantime, be good to each other, play video games, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.